Sriman Narayana. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Everyone. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam Dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam. Dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama.
Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama.
Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama.
Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Sita Rama.
Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Sita Rama.
Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Sita Rama.
Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Sita Rama.
Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama.
Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama.
Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama.
Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama.
Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama.
Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama.
Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Sri Rama.
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 Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
Jaya Sri Rama.
Jaya Sri Rama.
Om Hri Om. Very good. Namaste, everyone. It is absolutely my pleasure to be here with you again this week. And on this specific week, we're doing something very special. We are celebrating Dīpāvali. And the truth of the matter is, the actual Dīpāvali occurred on last Thursday or Friday, depending on where you are in the world. We did celebrate it then as well, but we are very specifically going to be celebrating this very important, very sacred day with our members, followers, well-wishers all throughout the world. This is what we are doing today. That's why you may have seen we had a very special puja where on our altar, in addition to having Sriman Narayana, and we have had the privilege of having as a guest on our altar Dhanvantari for some time now, a few months. We, in addition, have murtis of Lord Sri Rama and of Hanuman. And the reason why is indeed because we are celebrating this very important day, Dīpāvali. Sometimes this is called the Festival of Lights. It's certainly that, but the significance of this day goes infinitely deeper than just, let's say, an Indian holiday. This is not an Indian holiday. This is a Vedic sacred day where we are celebrating several things. We are celebrating Lord Rama himself. And who was Lord Rama? Who is Lord Rama? Well, Lord Rama was here approximately, give or take a few days, 1.7 million years ago. And yes, that is the exact time when he was here, is 1.7 million years ago. And when he was here at that time, he served as the perfect king. He served as the perfect husband. He served as the perfect son. He served as the perfect many, many things in all the various roles that he fulfilled when he was here upon this earth. But more importantly, is not just what he did on this earth, but who he actually is. And that is that Lord Rama is an avatar. He is an example of a divine descent of God. In Sanatana Dharma, we believe that indeed when things get black enough, when things become dark enough, to the point where there's nothing that human beings alone, given just their capacity as humans, either individually or collectively, that there's nothing that they can do in order to alleviate the situation, it is at that time that the avatar comes. So, who Lord Rama is unambiguous in the Vedic scriptures. There is an entire epic work about him known as the Ramayana. And in the Ramayana, in the Puranas, in the Upanishads, where Rama is also mentioned, every place where Rama is mentioned, it is unambiguous as far as what is his nature. Today, sadly, since Neo-Hinduism came upon the scene, of course, many unfortunate individuals will sometimes say, Lord Rama was just a exemplary man. He was an individual who, he was a historical figure. And of course, the superstitious Hindus of the past elevated him to godlike status. This is what the atheists will say. This is what some academicians will say. Indeed, this is sadly even what neo-Hindus will say. Trust me, in the last 51 years that I've been practicing this path, I've heard this repeatedly. And unfortunately, that is an insult to Lord Rama, to just say, oh, he was a really nice guy. He was God. And God, with everything that in human language and understanding is meant by that. Who is Lord Rama? He is the avatar, the incarnation of that which is the supreme personality of Godhead, Sriman Narayana. That being the case, being non-distinct from God, Lord Rama is that than which nothing greater can be conceived. Lord Rama is the source of all reality. Lord Rama is the sustainer of all reality. It is via Lord Rama and the reciting of the names of Lord Rama that we can have liberation. You see, pick any politician today and recite their names. I guarantee you with my life you will not achieve liberation. But if you were to recite the names of Lord Rama in meditation, oh, you can achieve liberation. This is who Lord Rama is. So first, let's get this out of the way. Lord Rama was not merely a wonderful person. He was a perfect person. He was perfection itself and the source of all perfection. This is why he is celebrated. And who knew this more than anyone, everything that I'm saying? Those individuals who were alive upon the earth plane when Lord Rama was here and were fortunate enough to have known him. That is, his family, his friends, all of those individuals who were within his kingdom and who came to know Lord Rama. This is why when Lord Rama and his divine wife Sita Devi and Lakshman, his brother, when they were in exile for years and years and years, the people of Ayodhya were in mourning. Indeed, even though his brother Bharata was meant to rule in his place until Lord Rama came back as the rightful king, even his own brother would not sit on the throne out of respect for Lord Rama. This is how beloved Rama was because of who he was. Rather, Bharata said, I will not sit on that throne. And he took the shoes of Lord Rama and he placed his shoes on the throne until Lord Rama himself returned. This was the love that the people had for Lord Rama at the time. He was, again, many things, but what we are going to be focusing on today is something that is crucial for today, and that is 2024, on this very specific date of November 3rd, 2024. And that is Lord Rama was the perfect king. What do we celebrate specifically on this day in connection to Lord Rama? It is when Lord Rama, along with Sita Devi, along with Lakshman, finally do indeed return to their kingdom of Ayodhya after many years in exile. And this is the story. It's not myth. It's not legend, it is a true story. This actually happened in history. Like George Washington existing, like Abraham Lincoln existing, like so many individuals throughout history existing and engaging in their various historic activities. This actually occurred. That when Lord Rama was ready to finally return as the king to his kingdom of Ayodhya, he and Sita Devi and Lakshman all went on to a flying, beautiful, what we would call today machine. In actuality, it was something the beauty and the subtlety of which is inconceivable to us. But this flew them in the sky and toward Ayodhya to come back to Lord Rama's kingdom. And the people, knowing this, not only rejoiced, they were so it was of such importance to them that Lord Rama be able to see Ayodhya so that he could come back to the right place and not bypass them, not be lost looking for it, etc. It was of such great importance to them that all of the people of Ayodhya lit lamps like this, Deepas, beautiful Deepas. They lit all throughout the land, and they put these, millions of them, everywhere. They put them on their rooftops. They put them on shelves. They put them on windowsills. They put them on the streets. They put them on columns. They put them wherever they could. Millions of these little Deepas. Thus, this is why this is called Dīpāvali. Dīpāvali, named after these beautiful little lamps. And you can imagine, you can envision this. The city of Ayodhya with millions of lights lighting up the city, almost rivaling the sun in brilliance. And here comes Lord Rama in the sky with his divine consort, Sita Devi, and his brother Lakshman. And they come and they descend and they land in Ayodhya to the absolute ecstatic rejoicing of all the residents of Ayodhya. This is what we celebrate on this day. Now, this is a beautiful, again, true story. This actually happened. This is history. This is something that is quite beautiful, but it's not something that pertains merely to the past. Oh, this happened 1.7 million years ago, but why is this of great importance today? Indeed, I would say that certainly for many, many, many years in the past, for centuries and centuries, I would proclaim that this Deepavali is the most important Deepavali that we have celebrated in centuries. This year, 2024. Why is this the case? Why is this the case? Because what does this represent? It represents the return of the King. We know that throughout history, so many people who, when they are suffering, when they are in anxiety, when they are in fear, what happens? They begin to wait for the return, the coming of and the return of a truly great leader. This is true in every religion, where indeed various religions are waiting for their messiahs, whether it's the Mahdi of Islam, whether it's the second coming of Christ, whether it is Kalki in Sanatana Dharma, whether it is Maitreya Buddha in Buddhism, etc., etc. But more than this, we hear this again and again and again. Indeed, even King Arthur, when he was passing away, ensured his people that one day he would come back. This is a theme that we find universally amongst all good people. It is something that gives us hope, but it's not merely a hope mechanism. Rather, it is something that people believe in this universally because they know that periodically, it doesn't happen every day, it doesn't happen every year, but however long that stretch of time is, finally, the King returns. The King returns, to the amazement of all living beings. And when that King returns, what happens? Yada yada hi dharmasya. We recited those two very important, beautiful verses from Bhagavad Gita. And this is what happens. Whether it is indeed a divine avatara or whether it is merely indeed a man, but who is empowered by God to change our world, to quite literally be himself a personified rupture within history. What then happens is that individual restores Dharma. He may not even use that term. It doesn't matter. That's a Sanskrit term. Doesn't have to use that term, but he restores the natural order. He restores it perfectly, and then conversely, vinashaya dushkritam, he punishes the evildoers. Both must be done. Both always are done. There is no merely bringing about a beautiful age, a golden age, without both happening. Indeed, one is dependent upon the other. Such a person brings about a beautiful new golden age, and they annihilate the miscreants. Well, why is this of importance today, on this date of November 3rd of 2024? The reason why this is of importance is because, indeed, this is what, we're not going to witness, it is what we are witnessing. And we will only continue to witness it in continuous depth as each day goes on, as each week goes on, as each month goes on. Indeed, we are going to experience the golden age. We are going to experience a golden age. And we are going to experience the return of the King. Indeed, I would go further. We are going to experience the return of initially the King, but then many kings. We are going to finally, once and for all, have the divine, inspired, incorruptible leadership that people throughout the world have been crying out to God for really hundreds of years. For a very long time, we know that our world, since our world turned to materialism, a few hundred years ago, the exact date, there is no exact date, during the Enlightenment era, during the Industrial Revolution, during the beginnings of modernity, post-modernity. You don't have to give it a date. All that we know is that for quite some time now, many hundreds of years, our world has turned to absolute rampant and evil materialism. We have taken what is spiritual reality and we have turned it upside down. And what has been the result? What has been the result has been silent suffering on the part of billions of individuals. Mostly silent. Some speak up, and thank God for those who have, in one way or another, spoken up, peacefully, intelligently. But indeed, we have been living in a world of tremendous suffering, of every form. Economic suffering, poverty, people starving to death when there was never a reason for people to starve to death. People running out of water when our world is covered in water. Wars and wars and wars when there was never a reason for one of them. There was not a war in the last 100 years that was actually a justified war. What our people are yearning for is peace. No more veterans coming back from these unjustified wars with limbs missing. No more children being abused, suffering because their family has broken down, because our societies have become so radically hedonistic, materialistic, self-centered, economically oriented, where just making money is the only thing that matters, to the point where it's the children who suffer and the families break apart and there's divorce. And then divorce, again, the children suffer. Indeed, for the last several hundred years, with this rampant materialism that has controlled our world in a death grip, this rampant evil materialism that has had its hand on our throat, this materialism has harmed children, the children, more than anyone, in ways that I cannot even begin to go into. It would take too long. This is what our world has experienced. All this being the case, is it actually any surprise that the people, again, internally are crying out? Some externally, some are very bold, and thank God for them. But the vast majority inside, in their hearts, in their minds, they've been praying to God, please God, send us a leader. Please God, send us many leaders who are your servants, who are not servants of evil anymore, but who are your servants, who will come upon this earth and will give us what in our hearts we know this earth plane can be. This world can be nearly a paradise. If only we have good, incorruptible leaders who will serve you, who will serve your will. Please, Lord, send these people unto us. This is what we have been yearning for generations. And again, as bold a statement as it may seem, that's fine, that doesn't matter. It's true nonetheless. Indeed, on the contrary, I learned a very long time ago, actually, that if what you are saying is true, speak it boldly. So I will say this boldly. Those leaders who we have been waiting for are here. They are here now on the earth plane. They will very soon be taking over nation after nation after nation after nation, and any evil that comes their way will rue the day that it was ever born. So this is my message for everyone out there on this beautiful day of Dīpāvali. Understand what this day is truly about. It is indeed about bringing light to this world. That's why we have the Deepas everywhere. You can't see here, but throughout our temple we have these beautiful little Deepas all over the place, to the point where there's almost a fog of ghee smoke. And personally, I don't know about everyone here, personally I love the scent of ghee being burnt in addition to incense. But why? Again, we are going to finally bring light, the light of God and of Dharma, into this world in such a way that there will be healing. That there will be healing, first and foremost, of all these people who have been suffering. Of all these people who have been suffering, they will be healed. They will be healed internally. They will be healed of any pains that they have gone through, of any misery that they have experienced. This is true for the adults. This is true especially for the children. This light of Dharma will indeed be here very soon. It already actually is, but not quite such that everyone can see it. Very soon everyone will. And indeed, let me tell you, we are going to experience a new golden age, and it is imminent. So with that, everyone together 3 times. Jaya Sri Rama!
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 Evam Bhavatu. May the return of the king and the kings and their queens be so. And so it shall be. Very good. Wonderful. Well, let me tell everyone, as I promised last week, we're now going to have some questions and answers for the duration of our time together. Before we do that, I do want to make one very quick announcement, actually, and this is quite important. We haven't really quite publicized this yet. We want to wait till this live stream is over. But tomorrow evening, we're going to be having yet one more live stream. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Vedic Heartland time, that is Central Time. So whatever that time is for you, whatever time that corresponds with for you, again, Central Time in America, it will be 7 p.m. We are going to be having another live stream. And it's going to be a very special, very different, very important live stream. And let me just tell you what it is very specifically. And that is that we are going to be doing a meditation where I will be sitting here with my Japamala bag, and I will be reciting Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya. It will be the mantra to Narasingha. And the purpose of the live stream tomorrow and this meditation that we will do will be severalfold. First of all, to give all good people throughout the world protection against evil. And secondly, to rid ourselves of fear. To rid ourselves of fear. Because this is our greatest enemy, actually. Even greater than demons is fear of demons. So we are to rid ourselves of all fear. We are to be optimistic. We are to be positive. We are to be white-pilled. We are to know that we are going to win, that Dharma is going to win, that God is going to win, and that evil will be vanquished. Evil will be vanquished, and we must know that. So tomorrow, please join us, and we will be doing this very special meditation in order to empower all of the good forces of this world, all of the good people of this world, against what is coming. So with that, now, if there are any questions, it would be my pleasure to take any questions from anyone, either out in the audience throughout the world, or else even from our congregation here. Please feel free. Please feel free. Please feel free to ask any questions that you have. Good. Here is actually a question that I will most definitely answer, and this is one that pertains to exactly what we were talking about today, actually, and I won't read people's names. I'll just read the question itself. Greetings, Sri Acharyaji. May Sri Rama have all praises on this day. Why does Narayana allow for the asuras and the rakshasas to exist? Secondly, what are those beings? Are they Atmans who are corrupted? Very good. That is an excellent question, actually. This is a question of what technically is called Theodicy. Theodicy. And that is the greater question of why does God, quote unquote, allow evil to exist? This is a very, very important question. And in answering this, I hopefully will answer both of your questions at the same time. So in order to understand, indeed, why is it that, as people will often ask, and usually they ask it out of emotion, in great frustration, great sadness, they'll say, oh, why does God, quote unquote, allow evil to exist? Why does God allow demons to be out there and evil people and this and that and all sorts of horrible things that occur? And this is indeed a question that has been attempted to be answered by every religion on earth. Indeed, when it comes to this very question of, again, what technically is called theodicy, that is the question of why is there evil in the face of there being a beneficent God? How can that be? How can the two coexist at the same time? No one has been able to answer this question except for Sanatana Dharma. And I know this both having, again, studied this question from every angle, every historical philosopher in history, but also because personally, I remember even presenting the Vedic answer to a truly great philosophy professor who I knew. And, I won't mention his name or anything. And in the discussion of theodicy, this was after class. I also wrote a paper on this that he liked very much, but after class, he and I would be together quite a bit. We would talk and talk and talk, of course, about philosophy. And I would describe to him what is the Vedic answer to theodicy. Why is evil allowed to exist? And very quickly, he had to admit that, yes, what you're saying makes absolute sense. And this is the only answer I've ever heard in all of my time being a professor of philosophy that actually makes sense. And what is that? The answer lies not with God. The answer lies with the Atmans themselves. That is, Atmans having, of course, free choice. We have the ability to choose anything, any trajectory. And please be patient with me. You'll see now your questions are going to be directly answered, both of them, actually. With each individual Atmans, unlimited numbers of them. If we were to say trillions upon trillions, no, don't even bother. There are an unlimited number of Atmans. We all are individuals, individual personalities. We're not automatons, we're not robots, like New Age people or Advaitins like to think. No, we all have our eternal personalities. That being the case, part of what it means to be Atman is that we have free will. Part of what it means to have free will is that we have choice. Part of what it means to have choice is that we have an array of individual items to choose from. That being the case, hierarchically, some are beautiful, wonderful, good. Some are dark, evil, demonic, and many, many, many in between. And in accordance with all of the multiple thousands of micro decisions that any given individual Atman makes in his lifetime, that is the trajectory of that individual Atman. Now, with this understanding, some Atmans live their life so sattvically in such a good way that they become gods. They become devas. Now, this is something that's important to understand. The majority of individuals who have heard about gods and goddesses, who even worship gods and goddesses, don't understand what these beings are. In Sanatana Dharma, we do. We understand that these are exalted beings who are Atmans the same as we are. But they had extremely good karma. So thus they were raised to the platform of being a deva. And what does that mean? There are multiple echelons of these beings. Some of them can live for what is to us hundreds of millions of years. They're very powerful beings. But then correspondingly, any individual Atman, due to the decisions that they make, they can go in the opposite direction. Now this answers your question. It is as a result of free will, of choice, bad choice, misusing free will, that some Atmans become evil. They become asuras, they become rakshasas, they become, indeed, evil, disembodied, metaphysical, ghostly beings. And it's simply their nature, it's their psychological makeup that they are evil and they wish to do evil. It gives them pleasure to bring suffering to others. Indeed, we can just look at human beings and we see the same thing, this hierarchy that is there. We see some beings who are so saintly, who are so good, that all they want to do, all that they endeavor with every day of their life is to bring good to this world. And they don't do it for reward, they don't do it because it looks good. Cynical atheists out there, no, they do it because it's their nature. And that nature, due to, again, multiple thousands of micro decisions made not just in this lifetime, but multiple lifetimes beforehand. So we see that, but what also do we see with humans? We're just dealing with humans now. We see some people who are psychopaths, who are clinical psychopaths. This is science, one of the few accurate aspects of science. There are people who are clinical psychopaths. In other words, they're born evil. Some New Agey people, it's inconceivable to them that this can be the case. But for anyone who's intelligent and who does their research, and indeed who has met such people, we know there are some humans who are born evil. They are psychopaths. They're a tiny minority. So again, you have the full spectrum, saintly to psychopathic to all the people in between. Well, this is true also when it comes to species of life, not just within humans. So you have some Atmans who become gods, some Atmans who become devils, who become asuras, many in between who are humans, other forms of species, etc. And it is all due to their individual choice. And this is the thing that is of importance to understand. Whatever the individual being is at present is not necessarily what they're going to be forever. Indeed, this is what occurs in the cycle of samsara, of reincarnation, is that a being will be, kind of evil in the last lifetime. In this lifetime, kind of neutral. But then they'll make some very good choices, and then they'll become a good being, and back and forth like this. This is why reincarnation exists. So, I hope this answers the question. You say, are they Atmans who are corrupted? The Atman does not become corrupt, but rather they've made bad choices, and the sheaths on top of the Atman are corrupt. The Atman remains ever pure, but it becomes covered up with illusion, with various sheaths of illusion. So for the asuras, yes, that part is corrupted. That's temporary. That's not who they are. They are Atman ultimately. The devas, the gods are Atman, humans are Atman, the trees are Atman, cows are Atman, even asuras, even demonic beings are Atman. But they have chosen wrongly, and in this lifetime, they've chosen the wrong path. So I hope that explains what is the nature of good beings versus bad beings. It's surface level. Deep within, on the Atmic level, there is nothing but goodness, regardless of how they seem on the surface. Very good, but thank you for that wonderful, excellent question. Going to see what other questions there are here. Just give me a moment, please. Very good. Here's an interesting question, actually, and it's a good one. I will answer this. I've actually never been asked this, at least in this wording before. And it is, Namaste Sri Acharyaji, what is a prophet in Sanatana Dharma? And let me just say, technically speaking, as far as using this terminology, we don't recognize the term prophet in Sanatana Dharma. That is an exclusively Abrahamic concept. That's not something that exists outside of Abrahamism. Now, in the colloquial sense, sure, anyone, who has some foresight can be called a prophet, but not really in the religious sense. And I'm sure you're asking in the religious sense. Someone who predicts, who's going to win an election, they may say, that person's like a prophet. So in that colloquial sense, sure, but I'm sure you mean something much more serious than that, and that is the religious designation of an individual who is akin to an Elijah, for example, in the Old Testament, or something like that, or a Moses, or something like that. That being the case, we don't have such individuals in Sanatana Dharma. That is exclusively Abrahamic. And let me go deeper, not just Sanatana Dharma. There are no prophets in Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, Zoroastrianism, etc., etc., etc. There are no prophets in pre-Christian European religion, in Shinto. Now, all that being said, what we do have are rishis, seers. And that's something a little bit different. This is different from merely a prophet. And what is the difference? Oh, I have spoken about this extensively in the past, actually. A prophet is an individual who may remain an extremely imperfect person, but for some reason they're kind of picked in order to give a message to a specific people. That's a prophet, again, in the Old Testament sense. A rishi, on the other hand, is not someone who is imperfect. It's not someone with flaws. It's not someone who, despite the fact that they're kind of lacking faith, still God picks them. No. A rishi is an individual who indeed has perfected himself, who is incorruptible, who has perfect virtue, is someone who indeed has perfect self-realization, perfect God consciousness, and as a result, they have the ability to view reality remotely in such a way that, wherever they're situated in place and time, they can see beyond that, and they can know things. And more, they can know things not just within the material world, but also the transcendent world as well. Thus, the rishis, the seers, are the revealer of the Vedic scriptures. So again, there's a little bit of a difference. So using the word prophet, again, in the Old Testament sense, in the Islamic sense, etc., no, we don't accept prophets in any way. That's an Abrahamic thing. Very good, but good question. Very good. Again, any questions here from anyone that anyone would like to ask? Yes, please. It's not nice and loud.
Okay, could you compare a mystic to a rishi, like a Christian mystic?
Very good question. So can we compare a mystic in the more normative, more modern sense? So you said like a Christian mystic. Can we compare that person to a rishi? We can compare such a person to someone who maybe is on his way to being a rishi. So yes, this is why I've said before. Indeed, I remember appearing on Discord where there was a group discussion, and I appeared on there, and people asked me questions. This was just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I talked along these lines that, even looking at the history of Christianity, even though we're not Christians, we reject Abrahamism, is it not the case that you have certain instances of individuals who we would call mystics? They're almost like yogis, St. Francis of Assisi, Teresa of Avila, Hildegard von Bingen, various individuals like this, Meister Eckhart, not Eckhart Tolle. People have no sense of history. They confuse the two these days. Meister Eckhart lived hundreds of years ago, but he was a Christian mystic. So is it possible that such individuals, due to A, complete sincerity, B, really abandoning the strictures of Abrahamism, which they all did, also doing certain sadhana-like practices in accordance with their limited understanding, is it not the case that such people can indeed make spiritual progress to the point of being quite saintly? Yes, I've said that before, of course. So you can have historically, or even today, people who, they'll call themselves Christian, but they're doing it in the right way, i.e. they're actually following the teachings and example and practices of Jesus. So yes, we accept that such people are certainly there, and we give them all honor. But even such people we cannot compare to rishis, because we would see such people, even in their exalted nature, as actually beginning their path toward maybe someday becoming rishis. When you compare even such mystics in Christianity to the rishis of Sanatana Dharma, there's no comparison between the two. the Rishis of Sanatana Dharma, again, are fully transcendent beings, even though still presently situated within the material world, and thus having the ability to be transparent via mediums, through which you can see to the other side. You can see the kingdom of God coming through them. Those are Rishis. So, yes, again, slight connection, but in their future life, perhaps such mystics will become Rishis. But good question. Good. Any other questions here? Anything else?
Is there
Very good.
anything about Lakshmana that we should know? Lakshman?
Lakshmana was also considered to be an avatar. It's very interesting, actually. Yes, people know very little about him, actually. It's a very interesting thing. But he also was considered to be a dual avatar, but in a secondary role. So that's why you don't hear about him a lot. But when you do read the actual Ramayana, if you do read about him in Srimad Bhagavatam and other places, it makes it quite clear that he also was divine, that he also was a perfect being, engaging in Leela, in Rama Leela. And that being the case, he himself also was a very, very, not just to say exalted being is almost insulting. He was God. Yeah, Rama and Lakshmana were considered to be, in a way, the same being, but separated for the sake of Leela. But yes, Lakshman was extremely loyal to Rama, first and foremost. He himself was also a walking personification of Dharma. He was filled with nothing but virtue, nothing but goodness. He understood Dharma perfectly, to the point where he himself could be a perfect king. Indeed, if Lakshman were to come back today, oh my Lord, we would have a Dharma emperor today. This is how exalted, how amazing Lakshman was himself. Yes, and again, he was devoted to Rama. That's why when Rama was exiled, and it's a long story, I'm not going to tell the story because it's easy to find the story. It's everywhere. But this is why when Rama was exiled, it was Rama who was exiled. It was Rama who was exiled alone. But his wife Sita, who was a princess, she didn't have to go with him. But she did. She said, "Oh Rama, I'm coming with you." No, Sita, stay here. You don't have to. "Oh Rama, I'm coming with you." And she did, and Lakshman did the same. He volunteered to go into exile with his brother Rama. So, yeah, there are no words to explain just how truly amazing and wonderful Lakshman was. Good. Very good. Maybe for just a few more minutes, we'll see if there are any other questions here. Very nice comment, and I will maybe read some of the comments as well because they're wonderful. This comment says, Jaya Sri Narasingha Deva, may he protect all good people and guard us against the actions of the forces attempting to halt the resurgence of Dharma. I could not have said it better. Perfect wording. Thank you for saying that. And Evam Bhavatu, may it be so. Very good. Give me a moment because I see a question here, but it's in two parts and they're somewhat separated with other questions in between. So give me a moment to read the entire thing to myself. All right, very good. Very good. I will indeed answer this. And it's a two-parter. Namaste, Sri Acharyaji. I heard you speak very briefly about the term Anahata the other day while watching the Shakti Shaktiman video. Could you please go further into depth regarding the, give me a moment, meaning of this word and the concept of vibrationless sound, perhaps in its relation to the Anahata chakra? Absolutely. This is something I can indeed go into very in depth, actually. And first, let's deal with the very word itself. The word itself, being a Sanskrit word, you can imagine it has a very, very deep meaning to it. First of all, it is the negation of hatha. Hatha. Hatha means that which strikes. Now, listen. You see, hatha means that sound which is formed as a result of the striking of two things, i.e. material vibration. You see, any sound that exists, it doesn't matter how subtle. If it's a material sound, it exists as a result of vibration, i.e. two things hitting each other, rubbing together, etc. Anyone who understands the nature of audio knows this and will confirm this in 1/10 of a second. So that is hatha sound. When we talk about hatha sound, we are talking about material sound. That includes, interestingly, even when we hear something, of course, what is happening. It's the eardrum that's being struck in such a way that, now vibration is translated as sound, as words, as music, etc., etc. So again, this applies to all material sound vibration. Now, it's understood that that sound which is, on the other hand, transcendental in nature is Anahata, that is, the negation. If you add an A or an AN, however is appropriate in accordance with the first letter of the word in question, when you add that or an, that negates it. So Anahata is that sound that is not produced by the striking of two things by material sound vibration. Now, with this definition and this understanding, there are certain sounds indeed that, to make this very simply, this is actually simpler to understand than most people think. The application of it is difficult. The realization of it is difficult. But to understand this is easy. That sound that is anahata is sound that is transcendental in nature. In other words, it's not material. It is an eternal sound vibration, first and foremost. It is a transcendental sound vibration. It is a sound vibration that is of the nature of that which is incorruptible, of that which has complete permanence to it, and of that which shares in the ontological nature of the transcendent, because it is a transcendental sound vibration. So what is meant by anahata is indeed that in general. Now, having said that anahata is pointing to transcendental sound vibration, even that is only the beginning of understanding this. And believe me, I'm giving you a fourth of a nutshell version, not even a full nutshell version of this. Now, with that understanding, anahata, again, applies to all things that are transcendental sound vibration. On the one hand, we could say any divine mantra is anahata in its nature, in how it operates. And this is how the word is used. So therefore, when we're reciting, for example, and I could use many sacred mantras, Om Namo Narayanaya. When we are reciting the sound, there are two distinct levels on which the sound exists. First, there is the actual transcendental sound vibration, which we are not detecting, but we are experiencing. Now, what are we detecting? Just like with any other sound that we could say, hey, Joe, someone yells at us. And again, the eardrum starts to vibrate. Even when doing mantra, we're doing the same thing. It is a sound vibration that's registering for the ear. But with mantra, the difference is this, that unlike yelling at someone or listening to music or anything else, where there is merely the vehicle itself, in the case of sacred sound vibration, there is the vehicle that is the actual sound vibration, but then there is that hidden element of anahata reality that is being carried by that vehicle. So thus, when we are meditating upon Om Namo Narayanaya, that very sound vibration is the vehicle carrying the eternal divine name of God, which is non-distinct from God. This is why even in the science of mantra meditation, the goal is to come to the point of non-dependency upon hatha sound. So thus, we begin, when we begin with mantra meditation, by first saying the mantra out loud. Om Namo Narayanaya. But then, after much practice, we come to the point where we whisper it. And then it comes to the point, after much practice, that we do this. We say the mantra in our mind. Now there is no hatha, you see. But then we go even deeper, and it comes to the point where we're no longer even saying the mantra in our mind. We are experiencing the mantra as non-distinct from God. And interestingly, not in the mind, but now the region shifts to where? Now we get to the second part of your question, the Anahata chakra, and that is the heart chakra. So there are two things to be said about the Anahata chakra. In the same way that I explained that mantra operates, i.e., there is the more material vehicle, but that then carries the transcendent element into us. Well, in the same way, this is true for the Anahata area as well. There is the chakra itself. So indeed, the heart chakra is called the Anahata chakra. That's material. I've talked about this many times. Indeed, in the Upanishads it describes this. How the chakras have to do with the sukshma sharira. They're not physical, but they're not fully spiritual either. They're in between. They exist on the causal, the astral plane. Now, the Anahata chakra itself, that being its nature, i.e. still subtle materiality, but materiality nonetheless, that is the vehicle, that is the exterior that we encounter. The true Anahata is not a chakra. It is still there within the heart region, but it is where we encounter God directly as Paramatman. So, this is what we are to realize within the heart region, even more so than a chakra. It's amazing. If a person were to indeed activate the Anahata chakra, that alone would be a truly positive and amazing experience. That's just a chakra. If you go deeper, what is then happening is that you are encountering God within the heart. It is within the heart region, and the Upanishads make this clear, extremely clear. The yoga literature makes this clear. There are two beings within the heart region. The first being is you, Atman. And it is explained that the typical Atman, if you were to give it a size, it's 1/10,000th the size of the tip of a hair. This is the exact quote from the Upanishads. It's tiny. But then the Upanishads make it clear that in addition to Atman, there is a second being, that is Paramatman. That being is, within the typical human, the size of a thumb. Now, why am I being so specific about this? Oh, many reasons. I've spoken about this in the past. For those lower IQ individuals who play with the Upanishads but really have never actually read them, they kind of like to put quotes on Facebook, oh, the blah, 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 the Upanishads. They don't give scriptural reference or anything, which Upanishad, chapter, verse. But that's all right. Some individuals like to pretend that Atman, Paramatman, it means the same thing, doesn't matter. No. As we have seen, for those who have been with me for some time, Sanskrit is exacting. It's like doing physics. It's like doing nuclear science. You don't play with it. It's exacting. That's Sanskrit. That being the case, there's a reason why there are two separate words, Atman versus Paramatman, and more. In the Upanishads, it even describes them differently. That your Atman, your soul, so to speak, is 1/10,000th the size of the tip of a hair. But Paramatman is as big as a thumb. Why is this the case? You are Atman. You are that living being who is in illusion. But within our heart region, indeed, that Anahata region, that Hridayam is another way of saying this. That's another yogic term for this region. There's also God. And unlike us, God is not an illusion. God is that witness who follows us, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, witnessing all of the interesting, crazy things that we do, good and bad, good and bad, good and bad, and waiting for us to turn to Him. So it is within the Anahata region that the yogi, practicing true yoga, has the ability to eventually have Paramatman realization, realizing God within the heart. Now, this aspect of Anahata is not the same as the Anahata chakra, but this is purely transcendent. This is itself considered to be Vaikunta, the kingdom of God, localized. So this is the goal of every true yogi, of every real yogi, is to realize, again, God within the heart. And that Vaikunta is there with us already, because God is there with us already. It's just that right now we're in illusion we cannot see. So that is the idea. I can go deeper, almost infinitely so. But let's just say that is an explanation for what is Anahata and what is the definition and what it actually truly means on the peripheral sense, but then the deeper sense. Very good. So all that being said, I'm going to see if there are any questions, any other questions that I can answer here. Just for fun, I'm going to answer this, and it's a good and very sincere question, actually. When I say for fun, I'm going to answer this, I mean I'm going to answer it in a fun way. It's a good question. Jai Sri Rama. Sri Acharyaji, when I tell liberal Hindus that Sri Rama took incarnation 1.7 million years ago, they laugh. So how do I convince them? Let me say several things. First of all, why are you hanging out with liberal Hindus? They're a drain on your energy. They're a drain on society. Liberals are a drain on society. Don't get me going. They're a drain on everyone's energy. These are the NPCs who just believe what they're told and they question nothing. They just accept the narrative and that's it. So first of all, I would say choose your association well. And I mean this quite seriously. Again, I started off joking, but now I'm being quite serious. Let me tell you, throughout my life, other than very short instances where I had no choice, I came across someone or something, in my life I have never chosen to associate with one human being who was adharmic. Never. 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 And people who know me now and here know that's the case about me. I don't have buddies who, oh yes, my buddy, the semi-atheist. No, I don't associate with such people. I associate with Vaishnavas and only Vaishnavas. Other people might be acquaintances, but even then, if I know that they're a demonic person, they're not even an acquaintance. So that's the first thing. Pick your, make sure that you pick your association extremely well. Associate with individuals who have an open mind. You see, it's an interesting thing. There is a certain class of individuals who, when they cannot grasp something, they laugh. And we encounter this all the time. Indeed, they tend to be liberals, they tend to be atheists, etc. They resort to comedic acts. They suddenly become a stand-up comedian when there's something that they cannot encounter. And it's very disarming for some people. It's never been disarming for me, ever. And the reason why that's the case is because I understand why they laugh. They laugh in the same way that a child would laugh. They laugh in that they are fearful of something attacking their worldview. You see, if you are a strong dharmi, you're not afraid of anything attempting to attack your worldview. I, as the leader of the ISDS, I know, not only do I know that there are others who want to attack the worldview of Sanatana Dharma. I'm more aware of this than anyone upon the face of the earth. And my recourse is to just defend it even stronger. That's it. And I am never threatened by liberals laughing. On the contrary, I understand that the reason why they are laughing is because they, on the other hand, cannot stand for even 1/10,000th of an inch their worldview being challenged. In other words, they're insecure. The one who laughs is insecure. Always keep that in mind. The one who giggles nervously and laughs at you, that's the person who's insecure. You see, as children, that's the bully, even. They laugh at you. Know that and understand that. That being the case, again, pick a better association and don't worry about their opinions. You see, this is something that's very nice, again, for someone who has been on this path and studied it and studied even the science of it for 51 years. They've always been wrong, you understand. You understand, these same people, not literally these people, but these kind of people, for the last 200 years, have always been wrong about everything they've said about Sanatana Dharma. You see, we explained to them that you can't see it now, but at one time there was a river called the Saraswati River. These same kinds of people laughed and laughed until you could see the tracks from satellites. Then they laughed no more. The Saraswati River is real. They used to call it, indeed, I remember because I read the 19th century literature, the mythical Saraswati. You couldn't avoid this term. Reading the academic works from the 19th century on Hinduism, they couldn't avoid. It's like I started to think, is this river, is its name the mythical Saraswati? Because they couldn't stop saying this, the mythical Saraswati River, the mythical. Now there is no scientist upon the face of the earth who would claim that it doesn't exist, because again, we literally have satellite imagery. Indeed, they would be laughed at if they claimed it didn't exist. Oh, Rama's mythical bridge to Lanka, the mythical bridge, the mythical. And again, 60 years ago, had you claimed, oh yes, Rama built the bridge, these same fools would laugh. They don't laugh anymore. Again, you can see the bridge. The bridge is there. Indeed, the British, when they came there, in order to Abrahamize it and in order to attack Sanatana Dharma, originally it was called Rama Setu. The British changed the name to Adam's Bridge. So they knew there was a bridge, but yet they kept saying there isn't a bridge. They named it Adam's Bridge, but yet scientists, up until recently, if you said, well, what is this Adam's Bridge? Nothing, there's no bridge. Oh, there certainly is not a bridge of Rama. They would laugh at you. The bridge is there. And how many more examples do you think I can give you like this? Several hundred. So these very unfortunate individuals who, just like these fools from the past, laughed and laughed just to be proven wrong, laughed and laughed just to be proven wrong. Yes, there not only were humans upon the earth 1.7 million years ago, but qualitative evolution is a lie. The world has not gotten better and better and better with every generation, with every century. The world has gotten worse. The further you go back in history, the better things were. The more refined people were, the more intelligent they were, the kinder they were, the more aesthetically refined they were, the wiser they were, the more etiquette they had, the more beautiful was the architecture, the more beautiful was the poetry, the more beautiful the writing, the more beautiful the art, the more beautiful the music, and on and on and on. The further back you go, our scriptures tell us this. I am not sure. Aryavarta, very good name. I don't know if you are Indian Hindu, but let me assume that you are. Oh, please, let me tell you, our Vedic scriptures say this, that the further back you go, the better things were. But not just the Vedic scriptures. The ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans, the ancient Chinese, the ancient Egyptians, and on and on. I can go on for probably another 15 minutes, naming all the ancient peoples, all believed the same. This idea that, if you went back to 1.7 million years ago, you would find some monkey creature named Lucy is nonsense. No, you would find humans who were so advanced that you could scarcely even look upon them because their luster would blind you. This is what all the ancients believed. So how sad that these liberal Hindus want to be descendants of monkeys named Lucy rather than Rama. Sad for them. It's sad for them. It's sad for them. So ignore them, because in the same way that again and again and again all the laughers had to shut up because everything that Sanatana Dharma said was proven true historically for the last 200 years. Same thing will happen with this. So I hope that answer gives you some comfort. You're in the right. They're in the wrong. Never doubt that for a second. Never doubt that for a second. You're in the right if you believe that Lord Rama was here 1.7 million years ago. They're in the wrong. And someday they'll know it too. Good? All right. Very good. Shall I see if there's maybe one more question? How are we doing? All right, one more. Let me see if there's something else. And again, any questions here, please feel free to ask. Very good. All right, I will answer this actually. It's a good question. I just have to correct something that's here, but again, it's a good question. And it's from someone who had asked a question previously. And you ask another question, what do the devas get from worship? What do the gods like Krishna, Indra, Shiva, etc. get from worship and praise? Is it some kind of force or love? Very good. Good question, and I will answer this, but first I have to fix something. You had this list here. You have this list where you say Krishna, Indra, Shiva, etc. That is an inaccurate list. Krishna is not like these other gods. Krishna is not a god. Again, that's Wikipedia. That's the Wikipedia understanding. That is the pedestrian understanding of this Hinduism. No. These beings are all very unique. They all have their separate roles. They're not all the same in any way whatsoever. In order to understand this perfectly, I would recommend that you read my book, Radical Universalism. And in there I talk about this to a very, very big degree. Krishna is God. Krishna is God. Krishna is God. He is another avatar of Srimad Narayana. Indra is another Atman, just like the rest of us, who again, due to exceedingly good karma, was raised to the point where he is now the king of the gods. That is, he is a general. He leads the gods in battle, and not him alone. He also has sub-commanders as well, including his son Jayanta and Murugan, and there are many other beings who lead the gods in battle, but Indra is their king. But he's just an Atman like the rest of us. Shiva, on the other hand, it's funny that ontologically speaking, you name three beings who are all quite different from each other. Shiva is also not God per se, but he is the personification of Tatashta Shakti. So that is, he is the representation of individual and individuated consciousness itself. So these are three very different beings. So when you ask, now to get back to your question, when you ask about the devas, we must assume that what you're asking about are the lower strata devas, not God. Because God needs nothing from us. So God, being Krishna, Rama, Narayana, etc., God needs nothing from us. On the contrary, it is in giving to God and giving our devotion to God that we gain. But God needs nothing. Now, when it comes to the lower echelon devas, on the other hand, indeed, the Bhagavad Gita itself makes this quite clear, that we do yajna. So we do ritual, we do sacrifice, we do puja, etc. to the gods, and they do indeed benefit from this. They do benefit, and how they benefit is energetically. When you do a puja, when you do a yajna to a specific god or a strata of gods, it is something that energetically is very benefiting to them. It's like giving them food. It's like offering food to the gods. That being the case, then the gods, being beneficent, bestow their grace upon us in the form of, the Bhagavad Gita makes it very clear, in the form of rain, in the form of agriculture, all the things of nature that we need. So it is a beautiful integrated whole that occurs. It's a harmonious relationship that occurs, where we give to the gods give back to us. And in this way, the world remains in balance. The world remains in order, natural order, dharma. So indeed, this is the case. But again, with Krishna, Krishna needs nothing. He is the avatar of Srimad Narayana. That being the case, he is non-distinct from God. And God is not reliant upon that which is not God. See, that's the difference. This is one way in which you can know what is God or who is not God. That which is not God is dependent. That which is not God is reliant. That which is not God is conditional. That which is God is none of the above. God is ever free. God needs nothing from anything or anyone. So that's the difference. So I hope that answers the question. So indeed, this is something that the Bhagavad Gita itself even speaks about. That as we give to the gods give to us. Very good. All right, so with that, according to my clock here, it is 3:32, and we did have daylight savings time. So this is the accurate time, Central Time, Vedic Heartland Time. So I believe that we will stop here. And again, for people for whom I could not get to your questions, I apologize as always. We only had limited time. So we're going to stop here. If I didn't get to your question, just ask it again in the future. And at some point soon, we will in fact do a full hour of just Q&A, and then everyone can get their questions answered. But again, before we end, just to remind people of a few things. First of all, I think I forgot to mention this. We have a Discord server, so please feel free to go to the chat, follow the link that you will see on there, and feel free to join our Discord server. In addition to what we do here every Sunday and other live streams that we have, this Dharma Nation Discord server is something truly, truly special in so many ways. It is something where we have a community of many hundreds of ISDS devotees. And it's like entering a temple, even though it's a Discord server. And I know what Discord is. It's used often for video games, but there are all kinds of groups on there. Religious groups, political groups, cultural groups, everything is on there. Well, our server is a little bit different. It's not a free-for-all where people can just have intellectual brawls. No, you go someplace else if that's what you're interested in. It is something akin when you enter the Dharma Nation Discord server. It's like entering a temple. So you figuratively take your shoes off at the door before you enter. And when you do, you will find hundreds of ISDS devotees who are the most wonderful people in the world, who are knowledgeable, who will be happy to answer your questions, to guide you, both philosophically, but with practice, who will even be there. Oh, let's say if you just need help in your personal life and you just have questions. Oh, I'm feeling so depressed. I have something going on. And people will be happy to help you in any way that they possibly can. So please join our Discord server. Also, please go to our website, dharmacentral.com. And when you go there, our books are available there. I've written 13 books now, I believe. With the new booklet that came out, it may be 13 and a half, something like that. But also many, many more books coming out in the immediate future. Please go to dharmacentral.com. Not all of our books are available on there yet. We're one by one getting them up, but the vast majority are indeed available. So please take a look at those books. They are incomparable if you want to know and understand Sanatana Dharma better. Also, when you're on there, I always have to mention this. We are a religious nonprofit movement that is here to save the world. We need your good wishes, but we need more than your good wishes to save the world. We need donations. Please, when you're on dharmacentral.com, look on the menu and please feel free to donate to the ISDS. And indeed, it's tax deductible. We are a 501c3 recognized by the IRS. We don't play games. This is a non-profit. This is not done to give profit to anyone. So please join. Please feel free to donate $1 or $1 million. Become a member if you can. Become a monthly tithing member of the ISDS. That also would help us tremendously. And with that, again, please don't forget to join us tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Central Time. And we are going to have a very special event where we're going to have a mantra meditation session done live in order to ask for God's protection, in order to make ourselves fearless in the face of what is coming in the next few weeks and next few months. And what is coming? Ultimately, first the darkness, then the light. What is coming ultimately? we are going to experience the Golden Age. So with that, everyone, I thank you all for being here with me, and namaste. Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
Surya Vansha Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
Jaya Sri Rama.
Jaya Sri Rama.
May Dharma be victorious. Evam Bhavatu. May it be so. And so it shall be. With that, everyone, between now and the next time that we get together, certainly I ask you all to take very good care of yourselves, but also in this crazy, very precarious time in history, I give you the words of Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 66. Ma shuchaha. Do not fear. Do not fear. Do not fear. For God wins in the end.